Hey everyone, it's Josiah, your favorite R instructor here, of course. So this video will be briefly going over how to install R and RStudio and just some of the really basics of R. The goal is to kind of get us up and running with our environment as we progress towards the course. So the first thing we want to do is navigate over to CRAN. So this is the Comprehensive R Archive Network. This is where R lives. So you'll go here and you will download the proper version of R for your machine. So if you're on a Mac like myself, you would click this link to download it, or go to here, R for Windows. You can click here and choose the most recent version of R. Click this, and it will begin to download and install, as you'll see here. And this is super helpful, right? So this is R, the programming language itself. But in order to program in R, we're going to use a tool called RStudio. And RStudio is what's called an IDE. That's an Integrated Development Environment. And this is a place for you to really do your work in R. It makes things a lot easier. You don't have to be on like a black and white screen as you might see in the movies. So what we want to download is RStudio Desktop. RStudio Server is for people who do really, really large, big data analysis. So for us and our purposes here, RStudio Desktop will suffice, and it tends to suffice for most people in most situations. So you can download right here this open source edition, download the RStudio Desktop, and then click download, and then choose again the proper version for you. Perfect. So beautiful. And when we want to work with R, we're not going to actually open up R, right? We're going to open up RStudio. When you open up RStudio, you'll see about 4 panes here. Each quadrant is what we're going to call a pane. P-A-N-E, not P-A-I-N. Hopefully you experienced none of that. And this is where we will work, right? So a couple of things before we really dive into this. I want to go here, open up to our Tools tab, and go to Global Options. I want to note that there is, under Appearance, we can kind of customize the editor to be more in line with our preferences, right? So again, if you want to choose something fun and colorful, we can see that there are different themes we can choose from. There are dark colors, there are wild colors, all sorts of stuff, and you can even go as far as to create your own. I've done that. I have one here called Keeping Warm for the nighttime when I'm programming. But so feel free to go in here and kind of choose a theme if you want that fits your style and your vibe, right? For the longest time, I like to use Xcode because I just love the pink and the red. It's just really fun and whimsical. And then additionally, if you are visually impaired, you can increase your font size so that it's easier for you to work in, okay? So just want you to be aware of this. You can choose different themes as well for this bar and all that fun stuff. Now, when I also want you from this general tab to come down here under Workspace and go to this tab where it says Save Workspace to .r data on exit and select Never. This is just going to instill some really good practices from the get-go so that all of our data and things that we work with must be reproducible. Because what this will do is it'll save the data you've worked with, and just have it available to you when you open up again. And that's not necessarily the best practice, okay? Perfect. Now, in RStudio, we like to work with things called projects. So a project is really intended to be the self-contained collection of things, right? So that way you can pick up a project and move it from one folder to another folder. You can send it to a friend or a colleague or a peer, and that way they can also work on this project. I've gone ahead and created a sample project for you. It's currently hosted on GitHub, and if you want, you can go to this URL and download it by clicking Code, Download Zip File, unzipping it, and then opening this file right here. This is an R project file. I'll also email this to you for your reference.